The relationship between the United States and the European Union is increasingly influencing the future of the Balkans. After decades of working together to promote peace and stability following the Yugoslav wars, Washington and Brussels are showing signs of diverging priorities. What could this growing rivalry mean for a region that is still dealing with the legacy of conflict? To understand the issue, it is important to define the term Western Balkans. It generally refers to Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Albania, and Montenegro. These countries all aspire to join the European Union, but progress has been slow due to political reforms, governance challenges, and unresolved disputes such as Bosnia's constitutional divisions and the ongoing normalization process between Serbia and Kosovo. For many years, the United States strongly supported the region's integration into both NATO and the European Union, viewing Euro-Atlantic integration as the best guarantee of long-term stability. More recently, however, Washington has placed greater emphasis on strategic competition, energy security, and economic interests. Some U.S. officials have also questioned the effectiveness of previous international approaches to state building, signaling a shift in policy priorities. Bosnia and Herzegovina remains at the center of these debates. The 1995 Dayton Peace Agreement created a complex power-sharing system designed to balance the interests of the country's three main ethnic groups. A central feature of this system is the Office of the High Representative, OHR, an international institution with authority to oversee the civilian implementation of the peace agreement. While supporters argue that the OHR remains essential for preserving stability, critics contend that Bosnia should no longer depend on external supervision nearly 3 decades after the war. Some analysts, including Marko Plez, argue that continued international intervention limits Bosnia's political development and should gradually be reduced. Others believe that the country's unresolved ethnic tensions still require an active international presence. The debate has become increasingly geopolitical, with Russia opposing many Western initiatives in Bosnia while supporting greater autonomy for Republika Srpska. Its leader, Milorad Dodik, has repeatedly challenged Bosnia's central institutions and raised the possibility of greater political separation, fueling concerns about the country's long-term stability. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has added another layer of uncertainty. Some observers worry that if borders were to change elsewhere in Europe through conflict, nationalist leaders in the Balkans could use that precedent to revive territorial claims involving Bosnia or Kosovo. Although such scenarios remain speculative, they have heightened regional security concerns. Economic competition is also becoming more visible. Energy infrastructure has emerged as a key area of U.S. engagement. Projects such as the LNG terminal on Croatia's Adriatic coast are intended to diversify regional gas supplies and reduce dependence on Russian energy. Supporters see these investments as strengthening both economic resilience and regional security. However, critics argue that some U.S.-backed initiatives have favored politically connected companies and have not always aligned with broader governance reforms. Organizations such as Transparency International have warned that weakening institutions, declining rule of law standards, and reduced transparency remain significant obstacles to sustainable development. The European Union, meanwhile, has invested heavily in integrating the Western Balkans into its energy and regulatory markets. Brussels continues to stress compliance with EU competition and market rules, while expressing concerns that some bilateral energy agreements could distort competition or prioritize geopolitical interests over long-term market integration. Despite remaining the region's largest economic partner, the EU faces a credibility challenge. No new country has joined the Union in more than a decade, leading many in the Western Balkans to question whether membership remains a realistic prospect. In response, several European leaders have proposed gradual integration measures, such as giving candidate countries earlier access to parts of the EU's single market before full membership. Yet these initiatives have often been overshadowed by broader geopolitical crises. Some observers argue that renewed U.S. engagement could encourage the European Union to become more active in the region. Greater investment and political attention from both sides could benefit the Western Balkans if their approaches remain coordinated. However, if Washington and Brussels pursue competing strategies, the resulting uncertainty could complicate reform efforts and weaken regional stability. Ultimately, the people of the Western Balkans are the ones most affected by shifting international priorities. Whether increased Western engagement leads to greater stability or renewed geopolitical competition will depend largely on how effectively the United States and the European Union coordinate their policies in the years ahead.